Working with a consultant kind of forces you to start thinking outside of the box and start creating processes that are a little bit more repeatable so that you can further scale your business and be successful. In today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about why it's important for you to set up and implement good processes in your business. Hey everybody, I'm Brandon Gustafson. I own and operate 2 assisted living facilities, and I created this channel to help people just like you learn the ins and outs of investing in assisted living. Welcome to Assisted Living Investing. Welcome back to the channel. In our last video, we talked about the process of hiring a consultant. If you are looking to hire a consultant and kind of trying to figure out what that process is like, go ahead and watch that video and let me know your feedback. In today's video, we're going to be getting into the importance of setting up processes for your small business. So first off, what is a business process? Processes in business are things that kind of you put in place to help you be a little bit more effective and efficient with your time. The idea behind building a business process is to spend some time upfront designing the process. You then outline that process and then you share it with people that will need to be aware of the process. Train them how to do the process and then let them actually do that process. So just kind of an example of that process would be hiring people. So an example of what a process might be is going through the process of hiring a person. So when you're looking to bring someone in, some new staff in, there are several steps that you need to kind of outline as you're going through this. You need to create a job posting, where that job is, when they'll be working, give a job description, what the pay rate is going to look like. Once you have built in that that job posting, you're going to start getting applicants. So you need to start reviewing those applicants. You need to set up interviews with those applicants, and then you need to hold an interview. In the interview process, you're going to have that person's resume in front of you, and you're going to ask them questions, things like, what is your work experience? Kind of elaborate on what you've been doing to this point in your career. How have you handled difficult situations that have arisen? In assisted living, we're dealing with people that, maybe somebody fell. You're dealing with a family that's unhappy. It could be any number of things. Ask them very broadly. Don't ask for specifics. Ask them just in general. What is a difficult situation that you have encountered, and how have you handled that situation? Tell me about a time when is another good question. So, tell me about a time when the residents didn't want to take their showers, or tell me about a time when you encountered just a difficult situation. That's a good way to kind of frame up some of these conversations that you're having in an interview. Just tell me about a time when this happened, kind of a thing. After you've done that interview, make sure you're kind of taking notes. I've talked about this several times in previous videos. Take notes as you're going through the conversation, and when you're done with the interview, review those notes and compare it with the different applicants, and then you offer a job. So I just kind of outlined for you the different things that you need to do as you are trying to hire a new employee. I just gave you a really good kind of rundown. These are the different things, but how do you kind of track that? So the idea behind doing a process is you create a spreadsheet or something like that has a tracking mechanism in it to say, here's who came into, here's who applied, here's who I really liked, here's who I did a phone screen with, this is my rating on the phone screen, this is who I brought in for a first interview, this is my rating there. In an assisted living, that's probably about all you need, especially when you're looking at caregivers. Checking references, doing the different background checks and things that you've got to do, but build in a spreadsheet that just kind of has these different items in there so that you can then put it out there. And I'll try to remember at some point in the future once I have this process in place, but I'll link down below a spreadsheet for the process, like a sample process for going through and hiring somebody, so that you can use that as you're going through the process and trying to find new staff for your facility or for your small business as well. Once you have hired that person, it's going to lead into a new process. So you've got a process of onboarding a new employee. And what we've kind of started doing, and my goal is actually to build out a really good kit for you that you can purchase on assistedlivinginvesting.net that's going to have this, but we build out a mapping process. So an example of the mapping here would be we've identified we need to hire an individual. So here's the pieces that we need to do to get that job, that job posting up. We've hired somebody. Here's the new hire, or here's the process of orientating a new employee. This is the trainings that they need to do, and now they are kind of a full-time employee. So we kind of map this out in a little system here, and I'm hoping I can get something out for you by the end of 2022, where you can go in and start kind of using this type of a kit, and you'll be able to find that as a resource on assistedlivinginvesting.net. So make sure you keep an eye on the website there for those types of resources. But yeah, once you have done that, it leads into this new process of onboarding a new employee. You can kind of see from that example that I just laid out for you, it's a very repeatable process. You're going through and doing kind of the exact same things when you hire somebody, when you onboard them. So it's just very simple to kind of go through that. Once you've outlined that process and you're able to refer to it, you're able to then train other people on that process. So if you're the owner operator of a facility, or if you're the facility administrator, creating some of these processes are really going to help you in your job. It makes it so you don't have to think about it. You don't have to spend time like, oh crap, what did I do last time? You have this process built, it's in place, you have a system, and you're just going to kind of start using it. It just helps you be a little more effective, a little more efficient with your time. And so spending the time up front to build this process is just going to help you out a lot in the long run. So you do this by setting up different policies and procedures. So you're going to have policies and procedures that the state's going to require, but you can set your own different standards and different policies and procedures. And so this is what you would do as you're doing this. So what you do, the documentation process that you're going through as you create these processes, that is a policy and a procedure. Now in assisted living, there are a lot of policies and procedures, and you're building that out in your policies and procedures handbook. You can kind of build your own items and kind of pick and choose what you want it to be, and kind of have your own handbook around HR, your own handbook around resident care, or something like that. It just kind of falls into one piece, and just because the state requires it doesn't mean you can't add additional things. So you just want to keep that in mind as you're building out your policies and procedures. Everything kind of falls into this one big grouping of policies and procedures, but you can kind of build it out how you need to make it so that you're more efficient with the work that you're doing. You can add processes, like the one that I've outlined above, to your policies and procedures handbook, as just more of an internal policy and procedure on how you're going to hire somebody. That's kind of how you would, that's how you could kind of refer to it, rather than being a state or federal policy and procedure that you need to follow. This is more of an internal thing that we do as we hire people and bring them into our family of assisted living facilities, or in your small business, especially your facility administrator, or if you are the facility administrator. All staff should have access to these policies and procedures at the facility, so that they can refer to it when an issue comes up. There's a fire, somebody's smoking in a room. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You go and grab your policies and procedure handbook, whether it's digital or a paper copy. You pull out that process, you read it and say, yep, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I handle it. This is a process that I go through to make sure everything's good. That's the importance of having these policies and procedures in place, so that as you have staff turnover or different things like that, you're able to handle it and be able to address needs as they arise. So you just want to kind of be aware of that. Next time, in our next video, we're going to be getting into what are assisted living policies and procedures. I've been talking about them, I think, from the beginning of the channel, but I want to give you a really solid overview of what they are, so you know kind of what you're getting into, because it is one of the most difficult parts of getting licensed as a facility. So we'll get into that in our next video. If you would like to learn more about investing in assisted living, make sure you visit me on assistedlivinginvesting.net. I've got free resources out there. You can sign up for a newsletter and set up a call. We can have a consulting conversation and see if there's anything I could do to help you through your process. And remember, it doesn't take a lot, just a little bit. Just keep making progress step by step by step. If you keep doing it, you're diligent and consistent, I promise you that you will be successful. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.